Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome back to the book club.
Yes, welcome back to Arbiter Ian's channel.
Yeah.
I'm Arbiter Ian.
And I'm Mira Manga today.
It's lovely to see you.
Yeah.
So we have both read the amazing ASSASSINORUM KINGMAKER by one of our favourite authors, Rath.
Robert Rath, yeah.
Who Ian hung out with in Hong Kong.
I did, yeah, last year.
And has been on the channel. So check out The Infinite and the Divine book club and our interview.
Yeah.
He's a friend of the show. And
we're going to talk to him about this at some point in the future.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely on the card. So look out for that. This is a book that, actually, that book's really popular, Infinite and the Divine.
Infinite and the Divine is, and also Kingmaker. People were asking for Kingmaker for ages.
Yeah. So, iconic writer, and this book doesn't disappoint. So I've done the notes on this.
Yep, which means you're taking the lead.
Yeah, and
you're in charge.
Which is why it might not be as good as when Ian does it.
It's gonna be great. Although there are a lot of notes, Mira. You've taken lots and lots of notes here, so you know. We should also say hello, hi. You could be watching this on a podcast or on a YouTube video, and whichever you're watching them at. If you look at the description, there's links to all our patrons and stuff like that. Yeah. Come support the channel by giving us money. Basically, that's basically how it works. Or buying t-shirts. You can buy t-shirts. You've got t-shirts.
Yeah, and also leave loads of comments so we know what you're thinking.
Yeah. Like how professional this podcast is.
Woohoo!
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Right.
So we should say before we get started, we've got a tea of the day.
Yeah, we have got a tea of the day.
This is by Honey Badger Games, who we bumped into at UK Games Expo.
Yeah, we had their swashbuckler tea.
Yes, we have now got Sorcerer tea, which is mysterious chai with chili.
Yeah, it's like black tea with chili in.
Yeah.
I mean...
let me read the ingredients. We're a bit nervous. Ingredients include guarana, dandelion, moringa leaves, cinnamon, cocoa, cardamom, chili pepper flakes, ginger, black and white pepper, clove and nutmeg.
It's like someone's put my tea in a hedge.
Ooh. I'm going to have a quick sip and then describe it.
Then
that's very, very prickly mouthfeel.
A very prickly mouthfeel? Like you're eating a cactus?
Yeah.
Like you've eaten a conker?
Definitely feeling some warmth.
Okay.
Are you feeling
It's very hot tea.
Yeah. I mean like a chilly heat.
No, I'm not feeling that.
I am. I'm a bit sensitive though. I think that's a good warming winter tea.
I'm not sure about that, but let's keep drinking it and find out.
Yeah, the cardamom's nice. So thank you, Honey Badger. They did not supply this, but we do like themed tea.
Yeah.
Ian and I are looking into a Warhammer themed
That's obviously the only thing that they don't make in merchandising yet, but really need to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Black Library or Games Workshop will say, but you know, let's start a tea company.
I want Tanner tea. I want officially merchandised Tanner tea and recaf.
And we need to have some Tau tea that's blue.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That could be like, yeah.
So now, if you're in charge, does that mean I do the action movie plot summary?
Yeah, I mean, I think, why don't you try reading it? This bit is meant to rhyme.
All right. Which bit?
The bit where it goes Succession, Ocean's 11.
Okay.
And
okay,
blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah,
Okay, I'll have a go.
Okay.
In a world where the warp can really mess up your journey time planning, diplomatic shenanigans are required to protect knightly succession. Well, it's Succession meets Ocean 11s and a lot of battles, which makes me wonder if there's a Warhammer Heaven.
Is there?
Not really.
Okay.
Expect skullduggery, diplomacy, skirmishes and scraps, and some twisty twists as we read
ASSASSINORUM KINGMAKER. Woo!
Yeah, so this is ASSASSINORUM KINGMAKER. It's written by Robert Rath.
Yay.
As you know, Robert Rath is famous for writing The Infinite and Divine, a book about cranky skeletons, and Fall of Cadia.
Yes.
Amongst other things. And this is one of his, this was like in between those two books, and it was very popular. It's about some assassins.
Yeah.
And we know all about assassins because we just recorded our episode on the Horus Heresy book, Nemesis, the book with the assassins in it, which ends by everyone involved going, let's not do any more assassin books.
No more assassins are allowed in 30k.
So we know now there's different sorts of assassin that you can assass with.
Yes.
Which ones are sassy assassins and which ones are not sassy assassins?
Sassy assassin has got to be a t-shirt.
Yeah. So, Mira, go.
Okay. So one thing is that from my notes, I can tell you all, this is set after the fall of Cadia.
Yeah.
Or Era Indomitus, as Games Workshop calls it.
Yeah.
What is the fall of Cadia?
So, For most, it's a bit.
I feel like this should be one of your lore videos.
Yeah, it probably should be. I need to do a video.
Have you not done one?
People have asked for a video on what the era Indomitus is, the Indomitus
Please,
Crusade.
because I don't know what a blimping snippet is.
For the entire of the history of 40k, it's been constantly set at 999 M41, the end of M41, which in our dates is 40999.
Got it.
Right? Because that's, like we're in the 21st century.
Writing songs
2000.
Like, it's like year 2K for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's Warhammer 40,000, not Warhammer 40, because it's set in the 41st millennium, which is 40,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Thank you.
So for its entire setting, it was a setting. People just wrote all their stories as trilogies happening around then. Oh, it's all getting bad. There's all these aliens, but it didn't have a plot that always moved forward. Now it does have a plot. What they did is they went, right, the 13th Black Crusade happened. Abaddon the Despoiler came back. He destroyed Cadia, the planet that holds closed the Eye of Terror, turns up in First Heretic.
That's the thing that's holding the Eye of Terror?
Amongst lots of other things.
Okay.
And the Eye of Terror spills out and becomes this big rift across the galaxy.
Yeah.
It comes up in Bloodlines as well.
It stops communications and separates.
Half the galaxy gets
half the galaxy.
dark. Yeah. And that's the fall of Cadia. So that splits you into the Great Rift. Which means half the galaxy is dark and away from the Emperor. And at the same time, Guilliman comes back. Guilliman forms something called the Indomitus Crusade to shore together.
The Indomitus Crusade. I've seen a trailer for that.
And when we read Spear of the Emperor, there was the whole thing about Primaris Marines. So Guilliman comes back, lets loose all the Primaris Marines, forms the Indomitus Crusade to go and give Primaris Marines to everyone and shore up the defences of the Imperium. And that's the current setting.
And Primaris Marines made a lot of people angry.
Yeah, because people are stupid.
And then I watched a video about that, also
how silly that was.
Clickbait videos as well.
Yeah, the clickbait video, which is definitely about Primaris Marines, everyone.
It is, honestly. But I'm sorry, my mouth is burning. I want to cough. Yeah, sorry. Yes, it's strong tea. So thank you so much for explaining the fall of Cadia. This is also set on a night world. A
night world called Dominion.
Now, it's not a night world like Caliban.
No,
it's an actual
on their horses.
Yeah, Knights are something very different for Warhammer 40k, and they're essentially, if you have a knight, it means you've got a robot you can ride around and bash people up in.
That's exactly it.
So I love Titans, so I was quite excited. I thought we'd really get into this. And then I found it to be very confusing. There are lots of different types of knights.
It's true, yeah.
So I'm struggling with that. But
the main difference is there's big ones and little ones. The little ones are called armigers, and the big ones are just called knights.
Yeah. There we go. We've cleared that up. So that's what's happened. So as Ian's explained, the Crusade's ongoing. Roberto Guilliman. It's not Roberto.
Roberto Guilliman. Let's keep with that. From Mackeridge.
What is it really?
Roberto Guilliman.
Roberto has called on the Knights of Dominion to join the efforts, and they have not replied. That's where we start.
Yep.
So we have a prologue which introduces Linoleus Rakan and Gwyn, his maintenancer, which is the cutest thing ever. So if you're a knight, you get a little friend who comes and puts you in
sacristan. And they're like a bit like a tech priest, but they don't know that much. They only know how to do knights.
Okay, good to know. And they are both shot by an assassin.
It's true.
So then basically the book starts properly. And we in Warhammer, we do love a prologue. So we have a very gutsy female character, kind of like a farmer, probably. Yeah,
some sort of bit. You get the impression she's from off-world.
Yeah.
She's like an agent of some sort.
Yeah, but we get to see like that kind of like normal people living. Mm-hmm. If you're a civilian, you're kind of messed up. And she is racing to try and send a secret message. Does she manage to send it? It's all a cliffhanger. And then literally backs up against something that's a massive thing, turns around, it's a knight armiger.
Yeah, which is the little one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still massive.
Still quite big, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody somewhere's done a little
size diagram. Yeah.
Which I feel I need to carry in my handbag at all times. So then the next thing happens is we don't know whether the signal got out or not, but we're then meeting some assassins.
Right. Do we do a assembling the team sequence here, or are they all just there?
It's an assembling that, they're not just hanging out at the pub. It's not like D&D.
Yeah. It's like Nemesis. We have to go and get every assassin.
Yeah. And I mean, that's with D&D, everyone meets in an inn. With assembling an assassin team, you've got to go and yoink them.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to go through this because we've got different classes of assassins.
These are the same class as assassins we had in Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got Coln, who is Venus Temple, and he's a hacker.
Yeah.
He's the hack assassin.
And Temple is the new Clade.
Temple is the new Clade, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I was kind of surprised to find out they call it a temple because that's kind of a bit prey-y, religious-y, but
it's 40k. They're all religious by 40k.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That means the Emperor can't have won.
That's why there's all these that's why there's all those sisters of battle and shit. And priests and stuff, you know.
God.
Anyway, Coln is Venus Temple. That's interesting because there is no currently you can't buy a Venus model for 40k. You can't run Venus was invented for the heresy. So evidently they're still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
This would have come out after Nemesis, which invented them.
Yeah, there you go.
He's got he doesn't have a load of little burbs and badgers and frogs and things though.
No. But he does have knowledge and he tells everyone about the heart _ worm and conqueror _ worm.
Yeah.
Which do you remember Mechanicus?
Scrap code.
Yeah. So I loved that because obviously I'm learning about this. So these are computer viruses. One is airborne and the other one you have to touch to pass it.
All right.
But essentially, if you're a knight, this is like COVID.
Yeah.
Not great.
This is night COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Sycorax from the Calidus Temple.
Yeah.
Which I've got a little mini.
Oh, it's a Calidus.
Yeah. Oh, we can't do a it's very, very tiny, but I get sent minis all the time. So thank you, Jim, who sent me this. I know what they look like. Apparently, they all have to have this ponytail.
They all have to have this massive ponytail, yeah.
And someone says they've painted a little bra.
They have painted a little bra.
But you were saying
they're meant to wear like sin skin, which is like you spray. It's like spray on clothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they're the Odo assassin, as we pointed out in Nemesis. Calidus just means cunning.
Okay.
Cunning temple.
Lovely.
And Sycorax, of course, is the mum of Caliban in the
Tempest.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in the Tempest, featuring Prospero and Caliban.
Prospero
Yeah. Prospero is where the Thousand Sons live. Caliban's where the Dark Angels live. And Sycorax is Caliban's mum.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
So Sycorax is a spooky Calidus shape changer.
And they say it's just plastic soldiers. So we meet Sycorax. And this is one of the best things I've ever read in Warhammer. So basically, you think that there's the usual honey trap, sexy girl, going to assassinate an old man. And what happens is she's actually changed into the old man. And the girl is a gene stealer cult assassin.
Oh.
So you have this very sexy moment and you're like, oh no. But
actually,
I love that. I've not seen, I'm 47 and I've never seen that subversion. Wow. So thanks. So I really thought that was awesome. And basically just, I do quite love change shapey things.
Yep.
Apart from Spear.
And then you get Rath. Who is Vindicar Temple, Snipery, OCD, injured shoulder. And sort of the leader.
Yeah, and I have to say the injured shoulder really creates an emotional fucking, I said a swear, it really is like a very, when someone at the end and that they've got a sore shoulder, it really comes into play. So we then have the liaison that my friend Jim has called Charlie from Charlie's Angels, who's like the boss and master of operations. But again, the shooty person is recruited as the team leader. Snipery person.
Well, for some reason, the Vindicar is always the team leader. I think it's just the least weird assassin. So you're like, yeah, okay, fine, you can be team leader. You're the least weird.
They're the most common sense. And basically, in order for the night world to be in the right, the right hands, they're going to have to help. It's all very diplomatic. It's basically taking someone down and replacing them.
Yeah, King of Dominion. The king of that planet needs killing and replacing with someone who might actually get off their arse and help the crusade.
Hence Kingmaker.
And they pick up this guy, Linoleus, named after a floor, Rakan, and they study the mission.
Linoleus.
And he's a bit of an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
He's like, meh,
so
I'm grumpy, I've lost all. He was an armature pilot who got injured and lost his...
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. He's one of those trope characters who's like, I lost everything, now I just drink. Yeah. But he used to be like, no, he probably said, I lost everything, now I just drank. Because he's in a very lofty knight's family, and he used to have a very prestigious knight to ride about in. So he's got to be part of the plot because he knows all about the workings of the night world. So we learn about the night world. And some of it's from Rakan, and then some of it's like assassin information. There are 2 houses on the planet, Helpfully, they were different colours, so we know what they are.
Strider and Rao.
Yeah,
and Rao are red, which helps you remember.
So Rao are World Eaters and Strider are Ultramarines.
Yep.
And the Monarch, in order to be the head, you have to be a scion of both houses with no children.
Yeah.
So you have to, there's very, very small pool of people who can do it. And there's this list, which means they've got to get the right person off the list to succeed and then be the right monarch that they want on the throne. And then Jim's written, our friend historiator, Ian could explain the different types of knight and show some minis. You don't have any knights, do you?
I've got one knight up there, but I'm not getting off the seat to do it. Basically, all you need to know is there's little knights called armigers.
And there's big knights.
Big knights called knights.
Yeah.
And then there's even bigger knights like him, but he's a heresy knight, so he isn't around anymore. And the big knights will have a fuckload of different names, all depending on what gun they're holding.
Okay.
Basically. So there's like a Valiant and a Crusader and a Concastigator and all these and they're all the same bloody thing. They're just holding a different gun.
You haven't done a video on this yet, have you?
No.
That's why Jim's put that in there. Because people ask me to ask you stuff because they want you to have done a video on it.
Yeah, no.
Add it to the list.
You got the knight whatever with a bounce cannon and a knight something else with a heat gun and they've all got so there's loads of different sorts of knights and they've all got those. Maybe I should just do a video where I'm like, this knight is the one with the heat gun.
Oh my god, this one is the one with
the cannon. And I'll just do it like that.
I will join in if you do that. So
anyway, there's loads of them. The important thing is there's little ones and big ones.
Okay. It was so important in many things in life. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about this book was I was worried I was kind of expecting like Night Off, like Titan Off, smashy. This book,
they do a bit of that at the end.
They do, but I'd say about 50% of this book is getting the gang together.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It feels very, very like there's loads of planning, there's loads of downtime on spaceships, there's like cunning themes. So if you're like looking forward to smashy, this is very much, we've got to get a plan and get it fish. Anyway, we'll go through this.
So, Sycorax, pretending to be Rakan, will infiltrate and collect information to figure out what their plan's going to be.
Yes.
And they've got this plan to kill Rakan, but he's actually quite useful. That's
a brilliant bit. They're going to like kill him and then they realise he will give them all the inside information on the poshos on the planet. Yeah. And they manage to recruit him to kind of get him out of his alcohol and make him think about the Emperor and good stuff. So.
And Gwyn.
Oh, yeah. So, Gwyn comes along for the ride, which is a really cute relationship between these two. So very, very nice. So this is a very cool bit. So this character has to learn to pilot a knight.
Yeah.
Did you know they've got feelings?
Well. Yeah, it's a bit like you know how the Titans have got feelings?
Yeah.
And everyone driving a Titan's like, whoa, calm down, boy, you're angry.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that. It turns out the way they've done it in this book is that the throne that they sit in and they sort of control the knight with, it takes a bit of their personality. So the personalities of all the knights who have driven it are also there. Yeah. And sometimes they're really annoying. They're sort of standing around going like, well, you could have done that better. I would have done it like this.
Yeah. So imagine being in a knight that your mum once drove.
Yeah, and your mum's still, a ghost of your mum's still there going, why are you doing it like that?
Yeah. So obviously, as you know, anyone from even off-world has to basically go in and link and be not rejected.
Yeah.
So it's like if I wanted to sit in Ian's throne, I'd have to qualify and know enough about Warhammer or I'd get booted out.
Oh, yeah, and in the armature, the little ones, it's just a hat. But in the big ones, it's a throne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hat mechanicum.
Okay, well, you'd be a big one, so you'd have a throne.
Thanks. A jester, a knight armature jester is a warglaive, which means it's a sort of knight armature with a gun and a choppy thing.
Choppy thing. Why would you want a choppy thing?
To chop shit up.
If I'm in a knight, I don't want to get into melee.
That's exactly what they want to do.
I don't want to do that.
You chop things up with their knight.
So she gets into Jester, which I think is a great name for a knight.
Yeah.
And the memory choir accept her.
Okay.
But it is a really well written battle, and she has to go through this like a night's vigil where you used to have to stay up praying all night. She has to go through hours and hours and hours of just reading out the list of previous. The
role of whoever. She has a vision of the death of Sir Fang, Rakan's father, when the king battled evil knights of House Morvain.
Yeah, Arthur reference.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Traitor Chaos Knight.
Evil. And Sir Fang saved the king's life at the cost of his own. King was badly injured and never left his knight again after the recovery. Oh,
Just stayed in it.
King's never been out of his night since then.
Spoilers.
Also learns of the legendary knight known as Leviathan, which rose from the ocean to defeat Morvain.
See, this is amazing. So we're just expecting, robots bashing. They're now...
There's fish knights.
There's fish knights, but also they're this is the Lady of the Lake coming out to say, to fight against Morvain, blah, 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 blah. God bless our Black Library authors and their literary backgrounds. So that is a lot of preparation, but it's really good. There's loads of great character scenes. There's lots of them hanging out together. So now we're going to go and do it.
Okay, we're going to do the thing, which they've decided is what? Kill the bloke?
The thing is, go and be diplomacy, find out, get about a bit, and then try and replace the
King bloke who doesn't get out of his night. Because they're all like, oh, he doesn't get out of his night. This is going to be annoying.
Yeah.
How do we... Yeah, all right.
Yeah, because basically, if you're in your night and you're an assassin, it's like a ring of protection.
Well, you're inside one of them big old stompy guys. How'd you get... Yeah.
There you go. So there's a court ceremony and they go... So basically, she manages to blag it as jester. And that is where she meets the king for the first time. And basically... in order to get a place at court, has to kind of tell loads of tales of I did this and I did that. And then there's an official welcome home dinner. Oh,
this is because Rakan, the reason they've got Rakan and they can do all this is because he's been away fighting in the Crusade for a while.
Yeah.
So he's sort of relinquished his things and buggered off to fight in the Crusade, and now he's returning home.
Yeah.
So there's a chance it'll be easier to pass him off for someone else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's in a little bit of disgrace. So he's lower on the rungs. He's underdog. So then I found this so triggering. Basically, she has to go as Rakan to a welcome home dinner. There's two houses and they're separated by a trench, as you do, instead of a moat, I guess. And then it goes a bit Romeo and Juliet. There is a fight between the Reds, the Baron's daughter, and the Blues, Striker Boy. And they were recently lovers, but then they got caught up in the whole rivalry. And Sycorax, as Rakan, steps in and finds a way to stop them killing each other. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so Romeo and Juliet. There's going to be some romance in a Warhammer novel. There's not. They resume the fight and kill each other.
Great. Brilliant. Girl kills the guy afterwards anyway.
This is stand up. This is so triggering.
Okay.
Right.
Why are you standing up? I don't get it.
Because this is when I'm reading a book and then something happens, I'm going, oh!
Oh, yeah, I see. Right. Now I get it.
Or if I'm on the bed, reading and I throw back, it's just such a shock. So she has to kind of blag her mum. And the mum is the most horrible mum ever.
Yeah, Baroness Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so
dreadful.
Abusive.
She's the head of House Strider.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out everyone's horrible in 40k.
But we've never had... We've had a lot of bad dadding.
Yeah.
This is really equalising.
Some bad mumming.
Yeah, horrible, horrible mumming. So really, really dreadful and spiky. And again, a lovely thing where a Warhammer writer gets in some human, familiar,
real human horribleness.
Yeah. I mean, it's more grimdark when you've got a horrible mum in it, let's face it.
So then she sends some people to the assassin ship.
We think everything's copacetic, but it's not. And Rakan is meant to just stay in one place. He's got out looking for booze.
Oh,
so he was in a secure panic room, which I thought was really, really clever. And basically, he gets into trouble, but you see that he is loyal to the cause. He's trying really hard to escape and get rid of the invaders, and he's saved just in the nick of time.
Okay.
It's a really lovely set piece. He sends a message. So once the raiders have been defeated, they send a message to find out who the raiders are coming from.
No, hold on, but we haven't said that. The people come to raid the ship.
Yes.
Yeah, so Hawthorne sends people to raid the ship and
they get in.
Rakan, the torturing for info, but Rath returns just in time.
Yeah.
And there's some shooting.
They open the ship like it's a flipping can of baked beans. And you're thinking there's all this this is the tip of technology. They can't have, secure spaceships. That made me laugh. Yeah. So then, so we basically find out who the raiders are and just trying to pose as the raiders to then...
Oh, yeah. To return pretending to be the raiders. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
To meet the royal spy master.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because is basically the bit of the book that's a little bit. I never really like court intrigues, diplomacy, that kind of shenanigan, but that is in this book, and it's kind of bearable because it's exciting and the characters are good. But
now this all builds up to the tournament, which is when they're going to try and do a plan,
which is really good because it's a book about Night World, so you want a tournament. So
Rath almost sniffed out as being, you're not the real rebels we sent to kill those assassins.
Yeah.
But during the tournament, he tries to take a kill opportunity because, like, obviously everyone else is being knights and shit.
Yeah.
He jumps onto the Crown of Dominion, which is the King's Knight.
The King's Knight.
And shoots his way through the canopy and then strangles the king.
Yeah,
but
stand up. The King's already bloody dead.
He's already dead. There's no king in the night. It's just a knight.
And not only that, but like this is a really stressful fight.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. And then they finally do it. And then it's like,
he's not even dead.
No, I think I put the book down and had a cup of tea. It was like a lot.
Yeah, the king is already dead. There's just a thing controlling the night, which must be a chaos spooky virus.
Yeah. But that's not confirmed yet. But because we've heard about the viruses up the top, we're probably correct.
Yeah.
So then the other assassin, Rath, is almost killed by the knights because it's all gone a bit Pete Tong, as it does in a heist movie. He puts on the face of someone else's mask, and runs away.
Yeah.
So,
Right, so then they come back and they've all reconvened and they're like, right, who are the other options that are going to be the king then? Because it looks like the king's already dead, so that's weird.
This is endgame now.
So who's going to be the king? And it turns out one of them would like hunting, but he's been fed to a giant snake.
That's brilliant. Yeah. So basically they go to the stables to find him, and he's been killed by a giant snake, and one is fed, and then they're looking for him, and someone reports, my men have found no indication of slaying, but the evidence was heavily digested.
Hey.
So it looks like an accident. And giant snake.
There's peasants revolting. Peasants are revolting.
Yes, they are.
Because they're all like, well, the king's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, someone just blasted his way into the king.
Which I really enjoyed this. I mean, just the fact that we get to see little people having a bit of argy-bargy. And there's a very hoity-toity candidate who gets killed by the peasants.
Yep.
Yep. And then we have... so basically they just go through the list of alternates and get rid of them. The sore shoulder comes up again. Sycorax gives Rath a medicine for the shoulder, but the problem is when you have the medicine, it could make your snipering a bit not as good.
Because it's the polymorphine, makes you all wibbly wobbly. You don't want a wibbly wobbly as a sniper.
You don't want a wibbly wobbly anywhere near the warp as well. So there's this very beautiful tension of like, will he be in pain? Will he have a wibble wobble? Will the snipe go true? And one of those really beautiful little drops of Robert Rath kind of tension is dropped in there. So then finally we get the king in.
Right, okay, the new king.
We've got this one.
Basil.
Just patted Ian on the knee there. Like
King Basil.
King Basil.
Yeah.
Basil Dagger Crane. What a name. Related to Fraser Crane.
Yeah, that's true.
The famous psychologist on the radio. And he's crowned, but shocker, another one. He's only calling out for rebellion.
Yeah, he gets crowned and he's like, right, as the new monarch who's been crowned, fuck the Imperium.
I really like Horace. I think Horace is my favourite.
Well, this isn't even in the heresy. This is like,
so what happens after the heresy?
Oh, do
Horace, people still like Horace?
No, they don't know who Horace is. But he's like, fuck the Imperium. Screw this.
I just don't want to know about the end of the heresy.
Night Worlds are weird, right? Because Night Worlds are sort of technically not in the Imperium. They're allies of it. Because they predate the Imperium.
Wait.
Hold on. Right, so.
No.
The thing about knights is that knights are like the earliest colonists of humanity. So before the Imperium, back from the Dark Age technology, way back.
After the Men of Iron.
Yeah, after the Men of Iron, but before the Age of Strife. Or maybe even before the Men of Iron, no one knows. Long time ago, colony ships went out to all these worlds. And with this equipment that was like walking machines to like do farm machinery and stuff.
Yeah.
And they colonized worlds, and those became the Night Worlds. And then thousands of years later, the Imperium caught up with them. So a lot of the time, they were so militarily powerful because they had all these fucking knights walking around.
Yeah.
That the Imperium were like, you're allies, right? Because we're humans, but they're not technically, they don't like owe a tithe to the Imperium. They choose whether they send.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have to be convinced to send. A bit like Space Marine chapters. They have to be petitioned for aid.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that makes sense because when we sent Lionel Del Ricci,
Yeah.
he was on a world that had been populated before.
Well, loads of worlds had, but specifically the night worlds, as in like big stompy robot knights, were the earliest of them. They were like the very, very first generation ships sent.
Is there any books on that or no
not
mystery?
Then. No, it's just said that they always are, and that's why the knights are like. Night planets are sort of a bit like Mechanicus planets are like don't have to give a title to the Imperium. They're kind of their own realm, and night planets are also kind of their own thing. Who are allies of the Imperium, which is why they can't just order them to, they're like, right, kill the king and replace it with one who likes Gilliman.
Because again, a lot of subterfuge with assassins, where if it was a legion, they'd probably just turn up and shoot everybody and take their robots.
In the back rooms, Rakan is forced into an armature that's infected by heartworm. Heart_worm.
Embrace the power of 8, which we know
it has points,
which is chaos. Which is weird, but if anyone ever says anything about 8, don't go near it.
But he stops the infected squires because it's assaulted by like bad squires from the bad infected people from putting in the neural link and flees the catacombs using manual controls. Doesn't get his hat on, so he's like driving it with a joystick.
I really like that bit. I mean,
if he gets the hat on, then
that's the end.
Then he's going to be infected with the virus, and then he'll be an evil bad knight like the king. Yeah.
And there's like a battle between him and the code. And he manages to destroy it. Very, very echoes of like HAL, Bad Computer, Maximilian in the Black Hole, all that kind of good stuff.
Then he finds his father's crypt and he solves the riddle that was left in Jester's helm.
Well, you would never guess this, Ian.
What's the duty of a wounded night mirror?
To rise from his blood.
Is it? All right, fine. A secret passage opens and he discovers Leviathans.
But this...
Soggy Knight.
He discovers the mythical knight, and it's so beautiful because it's like a redemption story.
Yeah.
Because he was like all drunk and what my dad, would have rejected me. And
now he's head Soggy Knight.
Ian, always a way to prick the balloon of euphoria.
He's got a soggy knight to pilot, all covered in seaweed.
All covered in seaweed.
Yeah.
Didn't you love that?
I like that.
It was a really, really good visual and like a secret cave. And I was like so Arthurian. I'm so here for it. So anyway, the new king just wants to do his own thing, and he's now starting to take down nobles.
Yes, so he's starting to kill all the ones who won't join him.
He's killing all the ones that we need.
And also, House Morvain has turned up again, randomly started landing.
Hello!
Yeah, hi, we're evil. And knights have landed on the planet, and they're assaulting the Heaven Defense Fortresses, which is like the sky defense lasers. With the aid of the traitor knights who are planning a coup anyway.
Yeah. So even from when the blue and the red lovers killed each other, that was kind of like, oh, and now this is the red knights are like, we're going to get you. So, yeah.
So they can't have the fortress fall because then Morvain can land everything, and there's some PDF fighting the knights.
I know what PDF stands for.
Yep.
Planetary
document
document format.
Yeah.
No, I used to think it was that, but now I know it's the Planetary Defense Force.
PDF, yes.
Yeah, and very low risks of surviving if you're in that.
Yes.
In one of these books.
And then all seems lost.
Yay!
Until
and then,
Soggy Knight appears.
No, Leviathan, the seaweed merman.
Knight appears. And kills everybody.
Yeah.
He does a lot of fighting and he saves the fortress, and then he's faced with his mum
and uncle
in their knights being evil. So you have to fight them.
Which again is gorgeous because, human robot knight interaction. So Coln's still going. The assassins are still in the area. He goes down into the workshops to find the arch maintenancer.
Yeah.
So this just isn't like a little squire.
No.
This is one, he's probably been there for years. His name would be Wilf in the car garage. He's got all the toolkits and find out what's going on. And she finds there is the dying baroness there and realises the crown was infected. As you said, the virus had got the king when it was damaged 10 years ago. So for 10 years, they've been loyal, but the virus has now brought this king down. And the king actually fought it off and succumbed to madness. But they all knew and just took his life support out, which I thought is a little bit of parallels with the emperor.
Which is why the knight was never speaking before.
It was a bit quiet.
Yeah.
So they find Tessel, who is the Archmaintener.
The head tech priest.
Yeah. And Kong guesses that the Iron Hand tech marine who helped Tessel fix the crown and save the king was actually Iron Warrior.
Yeah.
An Iron Warrior.
Yeah, which is the bad sort.
Were you expecting that to turn up? I wasn't. I love that when that happens.
Easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. And then Tessel said she was the one who tried to shoot Gwyn because Gwyn learned of the secret.
Yeah.
Right back at the start of the book.
And yeah, this is the thing. I mean, you know, love a plot. My brain at this point is like,
yeah. Then Tessel gets killed by a robot virus, kills Colm, but Gwyn comes back to help.
Yeah.
And kills Tessel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a really, I mean, that little thing of the squire, you know, got you.
Got you. Yeah.
That is lovely, lovely.
Okay, Sycorax is still going though.
Yeah.
She's blobbing around being a wibbly wobbly mess. She tries to save loyal nobles while Rath takes a sniper position and fights off the arm.
Yes, with his sore arm.
Sycorax gets into Jester to fight Crown of Dominion, which is insane because Crown's very, very big.
Yeah. And she has like a mind battle
with the people in the
memory
hat.
choir.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, we know you're an assassin. She's like, come on, you've got to help me.
Yeah.
Look, Morvaine's coming, and they don't believe her. She shows proof. So then that really, you know, the tide is going to be turning. So essentially that helps turn all the loyal knights to start coming and like, finally.
Yeah.
Now, this is the Bishy Bashy night battle.
Right, so there's a big old Bishy Bashy night battle.
Yeah.
Rath shoots the closed defense melter guns off the Crown.
And that thing about the shooting the melter guns off the crown, that came up earlier where Jester was like maimed or disabled a little bit. So you have a little bit of like revenge there.
Rakan's almost killed fighting 5 war dogs, which are armigers.
Yeah.
And
why do they call them war dogs?
Because they're bad. Bad armigers are called war dogs.
They don't look like dogs or anything.
They're a bit like...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, no, I've got some in the other room.
Okay.
But he's saved by his mother. She kills Uncle Bad Guy. Tries to convince him to join her and Morvaine because they're not that different, you and I.
No.
And when he refuses, she teleports off planet because she's felt the death of the crown. So she's like, well, this is fucked.
I'm out.
Evil mum's going away.
Peace.
And there's a new dual monarch system's put in place. Rakan marries Lysel. They become king and queen. She watches over Dominion with Leviathan.
Yeah.
And Rakan will lead the crusade contingent away. In a new throne night that's being donated by another night world.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, so that way they all get to Rakan gets to bugger off and be his crusader, and Miss Queen gets to rule over them.
And they get to be purple, make purple babies.
Yeah, they become purple.
Purple little baby knights.
Sycorax and Rath leave the planet, and she knows they're all fancy each other maybe or something.
Yeah, because he's got through the snipering with the sore arm.
Oh yeah, with his wobbly arm.
He's prevailed and been a... God, I've been trying to talk about the arm the whole time. You're not fussed about the arm.
He's got a wobbly arm.
Wobbly arm, sea creature, wet blob. It's all happening.
Blob, fish night.
Yeah. But I was so happy because we got a Warhammer romance.
We got a Warhammer romance. Always good. The inevitable series yet to come. Warhammer romance. Definitely going to be a thing.
Yay. I'm 100% going to write one. But I thought it was really lovely. You had the Romeo and Juliet, and it's like, no, grimdark, they both die. But we've got this assassin romance, and then we've got, the two houses are united. So I was damn pleased with this book.
Good, very good.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed it. I mean, I read it like a year ago, which is why you're doing this. But I really enjoyed it. It was
fun. I bring it back to life for you?
Yeah. I liked all the I like the depiction of the helm as being like your dad standing behind you going, would you do that? Would you do that? That's not very good, is it?
Yeah.
You're not as good as when we were knights.
I actually love, because we're not allowed AI in this world. I love that they get around it by having... ancestor voices. And those were some really cool sequences when you were trying to battle. You're actually in a thing that can kill you and you're trying to convince it to be nice to you.
I like the Soggy Knight.
Yeah, I like the
Seaweed Knight.
Seaweed Knight.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's models of Leviathan.
I don't know what Leviathan is as well. I can't remember what sort of knight it is or whether it's a particularly big one or what. I'm
sure someone will link us in the comments. But yeah, I bet a few people have painted Leviathan with little foliage.
Yeah.
The anti-imperial coup and Morvaine and all of that.
Yeah, it's all foreshadowed very early in the thing.
Yeah.
Evil House Morvaine definitely not going to come back.
No, very, very good. Get out of here. And then another thing, that beautiful thing, at the beginning, we get the little sprinkling of virus. Mm-hmm. And then that's basically the whole world shaker.
Night COVID.
Yeah. Night COVID. And our lovely friend Jim has pointed out the Leviathan is the Green Knight.
Yeah.
Which is also part of the whole Arthur legend.
There's also lots of fun references to other things. You got a bit of Romeo and Juliet in that. There's obviously some King Arthur and some Green Knight and some Morgana. So it's nighty. Is there too much? Someone's written here. Is there too much product placement? I don't know. I mean, it was a thing.
I felt every fight scene they used this equipment. It was this model.
I fired my thermal cannon at the Knight Armiger, who fired his Storm Strike missiles at my...
And I feel like if you knew the Knights and you played them, that would be quite like, but for me it was like, trying to keep up with that.
I think we had that a little bit in Infinite Divine as well, where a catacomb command barge turns up to get into the other side of the museum, and you're like, would you really use that?
I would. Yeah. Oh, can I use the catacomb? Can I use the barge?
Yeah.
Like, no.
What are you doing to get from there to over there? Yeah, obviously a tank, please.
Okay, I'm just going to look up any other questions we've got from other people if you keep going on there, just in case. Oh, good. We don't have any other questions on this.
Okay, well, since we forgot to ask any questions, shall we jump to the bastard scale?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you know what we should do? Since we got to ask, also, assassins, right?
Yes.
Did these feel particularly different to the heresy assassins?
They did. They felt a bit more like I say, Ocean's 11, a bit more slick, a bit more organised.
There's only 3 of them as well.
Yeah.
Makes them a bit easier to follow than the 6 from Nemesis. Yeah.
I really liked, they were like, they all had individual hero stories, which I thought was really awesome. And I loved the shapeshifter being the old man at the beginning. Yeah, I thought they were really, really interesting characters.
It's quite a nice use as well. You're a shapeshifter, so your job is actually to pretend to be a night pilot. So that you can then kill the knights through knighting.
Yeah, they had training montages, everything you want from your assassin.
So, bastard scale 1. This might be
reflecting.
Rakan's mum. How much of a bastard is Rakan's mum on a scale of 1 to 10?
No.
100?
We can't because that will devastate our bastard scale, which has already been... But come on.
Rakan's mum, did she have a name? What's her name? Baroness Hawthorne of Dominion is a bastard at level.
Oh, God.
What's the bastard scale? Come on, Mira.
What would you say?
Oh, I can't remember. It was ages ago.
Oh, God. She's awful. I would say 9.
9. Rakan's mum, Baroness Hawthorne, bastard scale 9.
Firstly, she really undermines her, kids' confidence. Makes them feel unloved. And then has betrayed the whole freaking planet.
Yeah. And there's not really any other characters that are actually bad in this.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of horrible nobles, and there is one giant snake.
Yeah,
has the giant snake got a bastard scale?
You can rate the giant snake
1.
Yeah,
giant snake 1. It's just doing giant snake stuff.
Giant snake's going to giant snake.
Demon's going to demon, isn't it?
Yeah,
giant snake's going to giant snake.
Yeah. Although I'd like it if the giant snake and the Leviathan could be friends. Yeah, maybe in a Britney Spears
in a buddy cop way. Yeah. So giant snake 1. But Baroness Hawthorne 9.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So that's the bastard scale done. Thank you for whoever it is who keeps the list up.
Yeah.
Amazing work.
Thanks for the completely makes sense list of bastards.
We'll shout you out on the Nemesis video.
Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So you have to play knights or assassins. What are you going to play and why?
I've got knights and I've got assassins, but I play knights more.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I think I would probably play neither.
Oh.
No, I'll play knights.
Don't want big stompy robots?
I do want a big stompy robot.
Brilliant. Well, there we go. Big stompy robots are done. We are going to attempt to talk to Robert Rath himself about this. And then we can ask him about knights and assassins and soggy seaweed knights. Yeah, and it might be too late to put this on this video, but we should put in our Patreons and our memberships any questions. That's all the thing. It's all the thing below. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we should also, then you can ask him questions. That's a good idea. We'll get people to suggest questions for Rob Rath. Yeah. Great. We know what we're doing. Right. On to the next one. Yeah. Bye. Bye. Bye.